Well, hey everyone, Jay Whitner here with Kickstarter coaching and our internet TV show crowdfunding coverage. We do a quick 10-minute recap of what happened in the crowdfunding universe each month, and today we're going to be talking about what happened in November of 2014. We have some good news that we'll be getting into. We'll talk about some of the big campaigns of the month. There were 12 in November that brought in $450,000 or more. And they brought in a total of about $12 million. The big campaign in November was Accentware, that we'll talk about, that brought in almost $3 million. So, to the news. We have one crowdfunding platform that is repositioning itself and is now going to be talking about raising funds for medical costs and emergencies. That's thoughtfulorg, so take a look at that. We have a new record on IndieGoGo by a campaign about code.org. It's about coding and spreading education about coding. They set a new record in the month of November in terms of the amount raised. They surpassed the old IndieGoGo record. And we'll talk about what they finally ended up with in December. But keep your eye on code.org. We had something really unusual happen in November. We track, as you may know from our website, the 300 largest campaigns on Kickstarter and IndieGoGo. And that's sort of a sliding scale. Right now, to be in the top 300 campaigns, you need to have raised $450,000 or more. And throughout that total picture, which goes back to the beginning of Kickstarter and IndieGoGo, Kickstarter has a very dominant position. On the top 300, they have 81% of the campaigns, and they've raised 83% of the money that's come in those campaigns. But in the month of November, IndieGoGo did some stuff that I have not seen before. In November, IndieGoGo had most of the big campaigns, and IndieGoGo brought in 73% of the money for the big campaigns. Now, this is very early to say that this is like a long-term trend, and Kickstarter certainly has the leading role here, but very interesting moves by IndieGoGo, something to keep an eye on. We also had some news about the equity crowdfunding front. For those of you that aren't really paying too much attention to this, the Jobs Act was passed quite a while ago, and the SEC was charged with promoting various types of crowdfunding regulation. And what they call the Series 3 is the crowdfunding for Main Street, is sometimes referred to, where non-accredited investors can make investments into equity. We're still waiting for the SEC to move on this, but 13 states have already made up their own regulations. So if the SEC doesn't get going fairly soon, we'll have, in my view, an undesirable situation where maybe half the states allow equity crowdfunding with different rules. Seems sort of a hodgepodge approach to me. So some of the campaigns that we'll talk about, we're going to talk about 8 of the campaigns today. The campaigns we're going to talk about range from about $450,000 to about $3 million. The length of the videos of the campaigns were from 2.5 minutes to 6.5 minutes. 6.5 minutes is pretty long. We recommend usually 2 to 3 minute duration for your videos. Everybody had a good number of updates, between 8 and 28 updates. The campaign length that we were seeing ranged from 29 days up to 42 days, with the sweet spot being somewhere in the 30-day range is typically regarded as being ideal. And we saw a wide range of reward levels from 5 all the way up to 33. I strongly recommend don't try to have 33 reward levels. It may look good in your campaign, you may think it presents well, but at some point you're going to have to deliver on those rewards. This particular campaign, the reason they had so many is it's the Radiotopia campaign, which we'll talk about. But they had lots of different radio shows participating in it, so each show had their own rewards. That's why it's such a large number. So on to the individual campaigns. The first one was IBox Nano. This is another 3D printer campaign. This has been very popular turf on crowdfunding sites. And their campaign had some interesting attributes to it. They stressed what really were the superlatives about their 3D printer. That it was the smallest, it was the quietest, it was the cheapest. So they really focused in on that, which I think makes sense. They also talked about the tech providers, were some of their suppliers in terms of putting the thing together. And they had a $10,000 reward for buying the first production unit of their device. This is something that might apply to a lot of different campaigns. If you're making a tangible device and you're making a run of it, somebody might want to purchase the first one, especially if it's engraved, indicating it's the first one. The second campaign is the Undress. This campaign is for ladies who need to change clothes, and there's not always a convenient place to change clothes. So it's sort of a dress that you can put on over your existing clothing, and then you can sort of change clothes underneath the dress. It's hard to explain. You have to look at the campaign to see more about it. But some of the interesting parts about their campaign is they had a list of the type of people who would benefit, like actresses that you need to do quick changes in a play or something, that maybe they don't want to go all the way to their dressing room because there's not time. Different things like that. They had a list of different people types that might be benefited by it. They had many different stretch goals. They reached 3 of the stretch goals. And they had some like side gifts they were packaging with the number of dresses that you purchased. And if you say, why buy more than one, they had different colors and patterns and things of these dresses that you would wear. And if you got 1 dress, you got 1 free gift. If you bought 2 dresses, you got 2 free gifts, that kind of thing. So it's a marketing approach. The next campaign is Radiotopia. They brought in $620,000 in their campaign. And some of the interesting things about their campaign is they had a 20,000 backer promotion going on. They had a supporter who said they would donate $25,000 if they reached 20,000 backers, which they did. So that was a thing to strive for during the campaign. This Radiotopia was sort of a combination of a lot of different radio shows that banded together to do the campaign. So one reason it was so successful is each show brought its own audience to the table. And naturally, if you're on radio, you can promote your campaign effectively too. That's a benefit if you're a media company doing a crowdfunding campaign. They also had some neat rewards in terms of podcasts that were about people or about topics selected by people, and coaching rewards that you get a certain number of hours of coaching from some of the people that are involved with Radiotopia for donations of certain levels. The next campaign is, it's not 3D printing, it's 3D carving. It's called the Carver. So you put, instead of 3D printing where like you put down little pieces of plastic like a printer would normally do and make a 3D object, this is you start with like a slab of wood or plastic or aluminum or something, and you carve out whatever you want from that. This campaign brought in about $625,000. And it's a little bit different because it's not the traditional 3D printer. They had a nice supplemental video in their campaign. A lot of people don't realize you can have more than just the one video in your campaign. They had nice pictures of the rewards. This makes the rewards more real to the people that are looking at your campaign. They can really see exactly what the things are going to look like. This is helpful. They also had a cool reward, I thought, that was to give one of these devices to a school. So the reward was that the school would get the device and they would fly in an expert from their home office to the school and train the teachers at the school in the use of the device. So that was a nice reward. The next campaign is for you special coffee drinkers out there. This was called the Arist. They brought in about $850,000. This is a super duper coffee maker that like has an app with it that remembers all your favorite coffee recipes about exactly the temperatures and the length of time you're cooking the beans and all these different things. Had some cool features about the campaign. They had a nice comparison table. This is a good tactic. If you have a campaign that you're making something and there is competition, make a nice table and show why your thing is better. If you can't come up with any reason why your thing is better in terms of price or features or durability or warranty or look or something, if you can't find that, you really ought to think about your campaign at the very beginning. It's a nice thing to do because you can pick out where you want to compare with your competitors and show that. The campaign also had 5 stretch goals, which, obviously they reached $850,000. It was a big campaign. One cool thing about this coffee maker is you could like have have cups that come with the coffee maker that have like a scannable tag on the cup. So like the coffee maker knows that this cup likes this kind of coffee. So you don't have to type in all that stuff every time. You can just put your coffee cup on the machine and it makes the coffee that you like. I thought that was neat. Next we have a Global Learning X Prize. The X Prize is famous. They've done a lot of different types of competitions, and they raise a large amount of money, and this induces organizations to do different things. The goal of this campaign is to develop software for use in rural villages across the world where there's not really a traditional educational infrastructure like we would think about in the United States. So that this is like a tablet-based solution to help kids learn how to read and do math, with basically this being the only resource that they would have to do that. Some of the neat attributes of this campaign, because it is the X Prize and Peter Diamandis and all those folks, they've already raised $15 million for the prize for this. So what they were looking for the campaign was not purely money, it was more engagement in building a community about this idea. So some of the cool aspects, for $10,000 you could sponsor a whole village, because in some cases you've got to like figure out how we're going to get power to the village. We're going to put in solar panels. How can we get enough of an infrastructure that kids in some African village can even use a tablet? That I thought was a neat thing, that you could like pick out a village and actually make a huge difference in the lives of all the young people in the village, and also some of the adults potentially as well. They also had matching funds. They had some folks that agreed to match up to $250,000 for this campaign. So this was a cool idea, a new type of thing for the X Prize Foundation to tackle. And I believe it may be their first IndieGoGo campaign. They had done a Kickstarter campaign previously with another organization that Diamandis was engaged in. Next we have a cool piece of luggage called BlueSmart. And in the campaign, they really talk about there hasn't been much advancement in luggage. But this suitcase, it links to like your smartphone, so you can tell if it gets too far away from you. You can lock and unlock the suitcase from your phone. It has a built-in scale in the handle, so you know like if your carry-on is going to weigh too much to be permitted by the airline, and all kinds of high-tech features that you would not associate with a suitcase. Their campaign had a lot of early bird price levels. These are deep discounts you get if you sign on to the campaign early. They also had a nice supplemental video that talked about some of the features of the suitcase. Really a neat idea. And for the surprising campaign, at least to me, of the month, is the Accent Wear cat ear headphones. If you look at the image here, these headphones make you look a little bit like a cat. There's like little cat ear pieces on the top of these headphones. These people raised almost $3 million out of this campaign to make these cat-appearing headphones. Pretty amazing stuff, really. They had a $1.5 million stretch goal, which they obviously made. One of their big rewards was a painting of you wearing the headphones for $10,000, if I remember correctly. Very interesting that somebody would actually want that, to have a painting wearing the headphones. They also had a special pair of headphones. They were like designer, custom colored and painted and stuff, again for $10,000. So really interesting that a campaign like this would make such a huge amount of money. I've had different pairs of headphones and earbuds and different things, but I never felt like any of them were like a fashion statement. So I found this very interesting for this campaign. That's it for crowdfunding coverage for November of 2014. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back in a few weeks covering what happened in December and the year end for 2014. So we will see you then. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Happy holidays to you.